going on, everyone? It's Bales and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going through UFC 285. UFC returns to Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena for another fantastic event. Headlined by two title fights, including Jon Jones making his long-awaited return against Ciryl Gane for the undisputed heavyweight title. So really looking forward to that. And then you've also got Valentina Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso in the co-main event for the women's flyweight championship. We'll get into that and all the other main card fights as well. But before I do, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure that you do. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. So if you can help me reach that goal, that'd be very much appreciated. Also, leave a like on the video if you enjoy the content or the other videos around here. And also turn notifications on so you don't miss any content that I upload in the future or go live on. So without further ado, let's get stuck into the card. So before we get into the main card though, there's plenty of other good fights that are going to be on this card. You've got Cody Garbrandt fighting Trevor Jones in the main fight on the prelims. Then you've also got your Derek Brunson versus Dricus du Plessis middleweight. That's going to be a fantastic fight. I hope Dricus gets it done. I do like him as a fighter and I think he'll be a good test for Izzy, if he can get the title back in a month's time or so over Alex Pereira, or Alex Pereira, whoever wins that fight. Dricus will be right up amongst those top 5 guys in the middleweight division. You've also got Viviane Araujo, I hope I pronounced that correctly, against Amanda Ribas in the flyweight division. So that'll be a good fight as well. Then you've also got Ian Gary at welterweight and Cameron Simon, who are two young up-and-coming stars that are going to look to get the job done in their respective weight divisions. Obviously Simon at flyweight and then Ian Gary at welterweight. So plenty of guys that aren't even on the main card that could easily be either high on the prelims or on the main card. But let's get stuck into the main card. So the first fight is at middleweight. It's Bo Nickel up against Jamie Pickett. So the odds for this one, Bo Nickel is a very, very heavy favourite at $1.05 and Jamie Pickett the heavy underdog at $10.50. So obviously the odds are hugely in Bo Nickel's favour. Let's get into Bo Nickel first. So he's 3-0, came from Jorge Masvidal's promotion, so he won one fight there very, very quickly. Came over the UFC to Dana White's Contender Series, won 2 fights again within essentially a minute. I think one was like a minute 2, the other one was like 30 or 40 seconds. And yeah, got a UFC contract and he's making his debut. So as we know, he wants to get it done on the ground. He's a collegiate wrestler. He's a 3-time NCAA Division I champion. He's also a 3-time Big Ten Conference champion. So wrestling credentials are all there. I expect him to try and take this to the ground. But the thing with him that a lot of opponents sort of fall into trap with is that because he's so dominant on the ground, opponents are quite wary of him with the takedowns. So they worry more about that. But he has been able to catch opponents on the feet. So he can win it both ways. He can do it on the feet and on the ground. So I just think that he'll be just too much for Jamie Pickett. And Jamie Pickett, 13-8, going to be just a tough ask for him, I think, to get the job done here. He can do it on the feet and on the ground, but at the end of the day, I just think my prediction for this fight, I think Bo Nickel will get it done. I think he'll make it 4-0 in his career, and he'll move on to his next fight. The next fight on the main card is actually a really, really good fight at lightweight. So it's Mateusz Gamrot against Jalen Turner. So this fight was meant to be Dan Hooker against Jalen Turner, but Dan Hooker was out. I think it was from an injury or something, but Gamrot versus Turner is a fantastic fight. So Mateusz Gamrot's the favourite here at $1.46, and Jalen Turner is the underdog at $2.75. So Gamrot, who's 21-2, had wins against Jeremy Stevens, Diego Ferreira, and Arman Sakarian. Ran into Beneil Dariush, who he knows right up there in the lightweight division, fighting Charles Oliveira Main, could get a title shot after that. So sort of no real slate on your record to be losing to a guy like Beneil Dariush because he's a very good fighter. But Gamrot has been winning in every other fight. He can get it done everywhere. Obviously likes to take it more to the ground and is a very, very good wrestler. So, but up against Jalen Turner though, he's 13-5. Went up to welterweight, lost to Luke. He went 1-1 in his next couple of fights. But then he's been on a 5-fight win streak since coming back down to lightweight. And he's beaten Jamie Malarkey and Brad Riddell in his last 2. And they're no easy feat beating those 2 guys. They're tough guys. Maybe not necessarily top 5 guys, but they're guys that are quite tough to win. And it was a very quick finish against Brad Riddell as well. So, again, can get it done everywhere. Really tricky with his standing guillotines. And he's just very, very long and rangy. So it's going to be really difficult for Mateusz Gamrot to try and get inside and try and get those takedowns. So that's what's going to be really intriguing about this fight. So I know those odds are more like in favour of Gamrot, but I think this fight's a lot closer than what the odds actually predict. And it's a really tough one to call, I think. But I'm going just for Gamrot. I think he will be able to get within the range and get it to the ground, but it's going to be a very, very close fight. So very interesting. And if Jalen Turner wins this, it's massive. It's a big win for either one of these guys because it puts them sort of back in the mix just outside the top 5, could get an opponent in and around there in their next fight. So moving to the third fight on the main card. So the featured bout on this card is at welterweight, Jeff Neal up against Shavkat Rakhmonov. The odds for this fight, Jeff Neal's a pretty heavy underdog at 5.10 and Shavkat is a pretty heavy favourite at $1.17. Jeff Neal 15-4. Lost to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Neil Magny. But then he's been on a 2-fight win streak since, and he's beaten Santiago Ponzinibbio and Vicente Luque, and also to win against Bilal Muhammad not that long ago as well. So we all know what he wants to do. His nickname's Hands of Steel. So he wants to have it. He wants to keep the fight on the feet, and he can finish the fight. He's got power, so he can finish the fight at any moment. So unfortunately, he's coming up against the guy, Shavkat Rakhmonov, 16-0. This guy he's fantastic. He's so good. Extremely tough test for Jeff Neal here. Last one was against Neil Magny with a submission finish really at the end of round 2. I think it was 4 minutes 58, so with 2 seconds left in round 2. Very good on the ground and very similar to Bo Nickel because opponents are so wary of the takedown. He can get it done as well. I think he's better on the feet obviously than Bo Nickel is, but he's got that element of like a Yair Rodriguez where he can throw a strike out of nowhere. Like we've seen like spinning back fists and spinning kicks and everything like that. So he's a very tricky guy on the feet and then he can take the fight on the ground. So he's so well rounded. And I just think that he can get the job done against Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal obviously is no pushover, so no slouch. But I just think Shavkat, he'll go 17-0. And because Jeff Neal's ranked number 7, Shavkat will probably put his name at number 7 or in and around the top 5 anyway. And he'll have a big fight coming up ahead, and he's edging towards a title shot. So I expect him to get the job done in this one and go 17-0. Then we're on to the 2 title fights. So the women's flyweight title between Valentina Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso. So Valentina Shevchenko is the favourite here at $1.13, and Alexa Grasso is the underdog at $6.05. Valentina Shevchenko, 23-3. She's been such a dominant champion. She's making a return. She's been off for a while, so it's been a while since she last defended the title, but she's got 9 wins in a row, 7 title defenses in a row against Joanna Jędrzejczyk, who she won the title against for the vacant flyweight title. Then she beat Jessica Ai, Liz Carmouche, Caitlin Chikagian, Jennifer Meyer, Jessica Andrade, Laura Murphy, and Taylor Santos. The thing with the Taylor Santos fight is that it was very close, and some people thought that Taylor Santos won that fight, so it'll be interesting to see how Valentina can come back after a little bit of a layoff and come back and how she respond. We know what she's going to do. She's so good everywhere. She's good on the ground. She's good on the feet. She's so strong for that flyweight division as well. That's what makes her such a dominant champion. It will be interesting to see what Alexa Grasso can do against her. But Alexa Grasso, 15-3. She won the Ultimate Fighter Latin America Season 3, which was the season with RDA and Tony Ferguson. So a little bit ago now, but she was fighting at strawweight. She lost to Carla Esparza and Tatiana Suarez. But then she was meant to fight Claudia Gadelha, but she was 5.5 pounds over the weight limit. So she moved up to flyweight from strawweight, and she's on a 4-fight win streak. She's beaten Macy Barber, Joanna Wood, and Viviana Araujo as 3 of the opponents there. Had a lot of decision victories, but she does like to take the fights to the ground and just really ground the fight out and just sort of wear on her opponents. But it is a tough task to do that against Valentina Shevchenko, who has been such a dominant champion. And I do expect Valentina to get the job done here and complete her ruby, which is every fight title defense you get a ruby. So once you get 8 title defenses, you complete one of the octagons there. I expect her to complete the ruby system. And what's next? Potentially Amanda Nunes could be on the cards for her because she's pretty much cleaned out that division. Obviously, Erin Blanchfield's there as well. Does she need another fight to get that title shot? But if not, I think she might move up and potentially fight Amanda Nunes. We move on to the main event, which is the heavyweight title fight. Jon Jones making his long-awaited return and long-awaited heavyweight debut against Ciryl Gane. The odds for this one, Jon Jones, $1.58. He's the favourite here, and Ciryl Gane is the underdog at $2.39. I have seen markets where Ciryl Gane was the favourite for small periods of time, but Jon Jones, 26-1, moving up to heavyweight. so he could potentially become a 2-division champion. As we know, one of the best ever to step in the octagon, youngest ever champion at the age of 23 when he beat Shogun Rua at light heavyweight. He's had so many impressive wins, I could list stuff off all for you, but I'll be here for a while. But his last 3 wins, Anthony Smith, Thiago Santos and Dominic Reyes, haven't been as impressive as what we've seen him in the past, especially the Dominic Reyes one where a lot of people did think Dominic Reyes won that fight. I think not only one is Jon Jones wanting to move up to heavyweight to get another title, but he's also coming back, I think, to prove a point that he is still that dominant guy, I think, because even though the last 3 fights haven't been dominant, I think Jon Jones is still one of the best to ever do it. Devastating power. But his main thing is he breaks people. He breaks people in the octagon. He can get it done on the ground, on the feet, wherever the fight goes, he can get it done. But he's known for breaking his opponent. So even, for example, look at Dom Reyes. Regardless if he won the fight or not, Dom Reyes has gone in a massive slump. And funny enough, a lot of fighters that he beats do go on slumps after because he breaks them in there. So that's his big thing. And as I said, one of the best to ever do it. But yeah, Ciryl Gane, 11-1. Crazy to think that this guy's only been training MMA for 9 years. It's incredible that how skillful he is for such a short period of time. Because a lot of these guys have been training their whole lives, either with a wrestling background or a boxing background, then sort of mixing it with MMA. But this guy's 9 years, well, not even 9 years. It'll be 9 years in like June or July, I think. So impressive wins against Junior Dos Santos, Jairzinho Rozenstruik, Alexander Volkov, and Derek Lewis. He then lost to his former teammate in Francis Ngannou, who was the former heavyweight champion of the UFC. He beat Tai Tuivasa in his last fight, and now it comes up against Jon Jones, who is one of the best to ever do it. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Jon Jones adapts to heavyweight and how Ciryl Gane goes against a guy like Jon Jones, if he can use his experience at heavyweight and see if he can trouble Jon, because I think this will be a close fight, because we know Ciryl can wrestle and he can get it on the feet as well. So he's a very well-rounded fighter. As I said, ridiculous the things he's been doing at 9 years, and he's so well-rounded. But prediction for this one. This is probably the hardest one on the main card, I think. Along with the Turner and Gamrot fight, that's obviously very tough to call as well. But for me, I'm just going to fall back on, until I'm proven otherwise, I'm just going to back Jon Jones in, I think. He's given me no reason to back against him, regardless, even though his last 3 fights haven't been, as I said before, as impressive a wins as he's had in the past. But I think he will get it done. But will be interesting. And then it'll be interesting to see who's next. I think Stipe Miocic awaits the winner of these 2 guys. So it'll be interesting to see who gets the job done. But I think Jon Jones will get the win here and become a 2-division champion. Obviously not simultaneously, but he would have been champion in 2 divisions. So there you go. They're my picks for it. I did go 2-2-1 on my last one. I think 2 wins, 2 losses and a draw. Because I think Jimmy Crew and Alonzo Menefield was a draw. So not the best one, but hopefully we can go better at this one. So anyway, thank you very much for tuning in today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As I said before, if you can help me reach 1,000 subscribers, make sure you click the subscribe button if you haven't already. It'd be very much appreciated if you can help me reach that goal. Like the video if you did enjoy it. And also turn notifications on so you miss when I go live or upload any other content in the future. All social media links are in the description below, so make sure that you go and follow them. Also, let me know who you guys think is going to win at UFC 285. Main card fights, prelims, early prelims. Let me know who you guys think is going to win, or any other questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll answer those for you. So until the next one, I'll catch you guys in the next video. I'm out. Cheers.